Alright, so let's talk Assassin's Creed Shadows. So there's been quite a lot of controversy surrounding this game, and rightly so. So this article comes from The Gamer, talking about the main character here and why there's some controversy surrounding him, and kind of the game plan for the company moving forward. So this guy Yasuke, as seen in the game here, it seems that he was indeed a real historical figure. However, it's debated on his samurai status and his rank of being a samurai, or if he was a samurai at all. And there's been quite a lot of debate going back and forth. In another article, this one, they talk about some Japanese historian, this guy Yu Hirayama, who claimed that, well, they reference a tweet where he claimed that he was indeed a samurai and he was appointed to whatever rank people are attributing to him to have, even though he was a foreigner and obviously not the standard for Japan at the time, especially since Japan has always been pretty monocultural and pretty closed off from the world for a lot of its known history. That being said, this is a video game, of course, so we can expect to have some fantastical themes or avenues that the game might pursue, and that's all good and well. I think the main problem here with this game that people have been complaining about is that they've claimed that what they're portraying in the game about Yasuke is real, even though it's not like very cut and dry, and there is quite a lot of debate among historians about whether or not he was a real person and all the stuff with his rank and being a samurai. This game has also been delayed, as she mentions in the first line here. It was supposed to release, I think, late this year, like maybe October or November originally, but they've delayed it to February, which is understandable regarding the controversy. She mentions some of the symbols here, so historical accuracy, and she says it's probably related to the sigils or minor textual references, not Yasuke's presence, which could be true or could be not true. We're not entirely sure. Most of the public problems with this game did come from Yasuke, obviously, at least most of the ones that we're hearing. There were some that they have like sigils for different clans or families from that time in Japan where it's not really supposed to be used, and only is supposed to be used specifically by that family or by that clan. So that part is definitely understandable. One of the problems here, I think, is that she's mentioning racism as one of the main problems that people are having with this game. Obviously, there's two playable characters. I don't know if this is both. I don't think it's both. This is one character here, female, and then Yasuke male, and it's more like samurai and ninja. So that's fine. That's cool that we have samurai and ninja to play as and to pick. However, I don't believe that it's, like she said, it's about racism specifically. Of course, there will be some people that think that, they don't want to play as a black man or black person. Of course, that's understandable. There's always people that are racist. However, I don't think the main problem with the game is really surrounding that. I think it's more the controversy about Yasuke's status and also some performance things and other things just surrounding the game itself. I don't think him being black has any real negative effects on the game in terms of people wanting to play the game. I think it's mostly the fact that they're saying that it's historically accurate, but it's not really very clear cut, so people have a problem with that. It's not really because he's black. Of course, it is a bit strange that they're making a game about Japan, which is great. I mean, so many people love Japanese culture, especially this traditional samurai culture or like the Warring States period. I think that's what they call it in Japan. And so many people love that, and so many people love that part of this traditional culture is still around today. And if you go to places like Kyoto, you can still see these older style buildings and the older style houses. It just kind of feels a lot more traditional, which is great that they've preserved this culture. So you would think that, they would pick somebody that's Japanese, like maybe the guy that Yasuke is supposed to have served under, or any of the other historical samurai or historical figures that did exist and there's not really any controversy surrounding it. I think that would have put them in a very good position and a much better position than obviously this. Of course, the controversy does bring some level of visibility to the game, but I think Ubisoft has been struggling the past few years overall, so it's not really the greatest thing for them to have this problem, especially with a game that's should be pretty big if you look at the cultural references and the setting, and of course Assassin's Creed. However, it seems like probably it won't do very well at all. And she does mention some of that stuff in here, that there were problems with the game. It seemed like you could see some of the problems just through the trailer or through the gameplay that they've shown already, which for me, the gameplay and the setting I think are the most important. I think I would expect it to be a Japanese person. Other creative avenues have covered Yasuke before, and although it is interesting to have this different perspective and maybe people don't expect this of samurai in Japan, and that's cool. I admit that. However, I think it's probably much more honoring and respectful for Japanese people to have a Japanese main character, and one that people can recognize and can relate to, or at least if they've read anything from history or watched any anime or Japanese movies or TV shows that reference historical figures, then seeing that within the game and actually playing as that would be cool. Of course, like I mentioned, it is of course a part reality, part fiction. Of course, it is still a video game, so it's understandable that they didn't just do the more traditional route. That's fine, I suppose. But if you look at the other Assassin's Creed games, it's basically always, I think it always is people from that culture, right? I mean, you have Ezio from the original games, Altair from the first game, of course, and then we have Assassin's Creed 3, where we have in America, early America, and then we have of course Origins with Egypt and all Egyptian characters, and then we have Valhalla, which all Viking characters, all Scandinavian origins. So there's all these examples of them sticking to the culture and kind of keeping it within that boundary, which I think is great, and it really kind of helps with the immersion. But straying away obviously can be good from a creative standpoint, but with all of the controversy now, it seems like it's mostly going to negatively affect the game and probably won't do very well. I saw another article on a different website talking about potentially Ubisoft being bought out by Tencent, and I think the founder of Ubisoft. I had to double check, but I'm pretty sure that's what I saw. So if that's the case, then that would probably take Ubisoft in a very different direction. Personally, I don't really care either way, as long as we have some sort of historical accuracy, because I mean that's kind of partly why I'm interested in the Assassin's Creed games, is partly the historical features. So me playing a different main character isn't the worst thing, or like a character that's not from that culture. It's not the worst thing. And, you know, I don't know if any of the other characters actually have any historical reference, but in this case, they did specifically claim historical reference. So that's why I think people are talking about it more. In the other cases, it's understandable if they're just characters from a game, then that's it. There's no other thing to discuss. You know, like, I don't believe that Ezio is based on anybody from real life, but like in some of those games we did have Leonardo da Vinci, which is like, oh, this is set in this time, and like we get to fly on his like flying machine, whatever it was, glider thing in the game. I think it was Assassin's Creed 2. It's just like, that's cool, you know, like obviously nobody living would ever get to experience Da Vinci, or, you know, even get to have sort of a 3D experience of that without games or some sort of movie or something. So that's like really cool, and that's one of the things that really intrigued me when I was younger playing the Assassin's Creed games, is these kind of historical references. And of course Shadows will have those things, and like, you know, Yasuke was a real person, of course, but it's just they're saying that it's accurate, and we're not really sure about that. So I think that's mainly where the big issue lies. But yeah, personally, I don't really care either way. I care more about the gameplay and about the setting, and about maybe other things you can learn from the different history that you get to experience within the game. So that's kind of my focus. And yeah, I don't think that this game will be very successful. I don't know if I'll even play it recently, since they've kind of taken more of like an RPG style approach to the Assassin's Creed games. I haven't really been into them very much, like with Odyssey, Origins, and Valhalla, and then this one would be the next one. Yeah, I really like the feeling of like Assassin's Creed 2, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, 3, 4. I think these were all great games, and you could kind of see a little bit of different direction once they started with Black Flag with 4. They kind of started to shift a little bit, but with these newer games, it's like, yeah, you can definitely tell it's kind of a huge directional shift, which is fine. I mean, the games need to evolve. They can't keep doing the same thing over and over again. But I mean, with this game, and they are kind of doing the exact same thing in terms of the gameplay style, more like RPG style thing. I mean, we haven't seen a ton from the game yet, so I can't speak completely on that, but it seems like it will be more similar to Valhalla, Origins, and Odyssey than it would to any of the other games with, you know, Ezio or Black Flag, or the third game, which I'm blanking on the name. So yeah, I mean, I guess we'll see what happens with this game, but it seems like Ubisoft is kind of tanking right now, with stock prices and with the direction of the company. So of course that's going to have bearing on this game and future games. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with Ubisoft and where they go. I really respected them when I was younger. I played every one of the early Assassin's Creed games and I loved them. It was great. And like, I have some real nostalgia surrounding those games. But yeah, I mean, if you just keep doing the same thing over and over again and change the setting, like, it's interesting, but like, it's not going to hold people, and it's not going to really take their interest for a long time. I think Valhalla was decently successful, but you know, it's just kind of, yeah, you can't keep repeating the same recipe and expect that it's going to work every time. You need to change, you need to evolve, and sometimes those changes don't work out, and that's fine, it's understandable. So we'll see what happens with Assassin's Creed and with Ubisoft. You can check out these articles for yourself. I'll leave a link to this one and this one down in the description. You can check them out for yourself, come to your own conclusions, do your own research. I definitely suggest doing that. Don't just take everything I say as truth. Obviously don't take everything you say in a news article as truth either. There are agendas floating around. There are things, you know, people want to push, and maybe some people think that having the black lead is pushing something. Some people think that it's a good direction. You know, do we need these things in video games? Do we not? I think I'll share my thoughts on these specific issues more in the future. But for now, just kind of focusing on the game itself and the controversy surrounding it. Yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. And yeah, catch you in the next one.